Arvell Reese, Colton Hood, Jeff Sims. Those are three names you need to remember right now. First, the first rookie flashes. Then, the role battles starting to form. And then, the one thing that changes how we should read this entire class. By the end of this video, you'll know which rookies are truly rising, and why this minicamp matters more than people want to admit. Big Blue lock-in. Quick real talk before story 1. Eagles fans always act like they own this division online, and Cowboys fans never shut up, even when they are guessing. If you want a channel built by Big Blue, for Big Blue, that actually breaks this team down with New York tough energy, hit subscribe right now. Every new sub is one more flag planted for Big Blue Nation. And if you're riding with the G-Men, drop Let's Go Giants and let rival fans see it. So let's start here. Rookie minicamp never gives you the final answer, but it always gives you the first clue. And for this Giants class, that matters, because this weekend was about first impressions, early traits, and who immediately starts the conversation inside the building. The main takeaway is simple. The Giants got their first on-field glimpse of the incoming class, and the early names worth tracking are already emerging. Arvell Reese, Mauigoa, Dominic Zvada, Colton Hood, and Malachi Fields. That does not mean anyone has won anything. It means the sorting process has started. And that's the truth nobody's telling you. Rookie minicamp is not about hype, it is about access. It is the first chance for drafted players to show how they move, how they process, and whether they look like they belong once the helmets go on. That matters, because a rookie can start earning trust before the heavier competition even arrives. Take the names we already have. Reese is on the watch list. Mauigoa is on the watch list. Zvada is on the watch list. Hood is on the watch list. Fields is on the watch list. When Giants.com, cover 3, takeaways are centering those players, that tells you the building saw enough to start tagging certain guys as early trendsetters. Not stars, not starters, but names the coaches and front office are clearly filing away. That is how roster paths begin. One clean first impression. One early roll. One staff member saying, keep watching that guy. The impact is bigger than casual fans think. Rookie minicamp is where the first shape of OTA conversation gets built. It is where position coaches start imagining packages, depth ideas, and developmental roles. If a rookie flashes now, he enters the next phase with momentum. If he looks lost now, he is already playing catch-up before the veterans fully enter the picture. For Big Blue, that matters because this roster needs young contributors, not just long-term projects. The G-Men do not need a class that hides. They need a class that starts competing immediately. Personal opinion here. I think the biggest winner from this kind of weekend is not always the most famous rookie. It is the rookie who forces coaches to keep bringing up his name. That is why I'm watching Reese and Hood especially closely. If they are already part of the early takeaway conversation, that is not random. That is the first breadcrumb. Disagree? Drop your reasoning below. But hold on, because story 2 is bigger. The names matter, yes. The real story is what minicamp opens up for players who are not even guaranteed anything yet. Now, what most channels miss is this. Rookie minicamp is not only about the drafted class. It is also an opportunity window for everybody trying to steal oxygen in the room. And that is where this gets interesting fast. The Giants are not just evaluating rookies in a vacuum. They are watching who can build an actual role and who can create a path onto the roster. That is why the supporting angle here matters so much. This setting gives drafted players a head start, while tryout players and position change players are trying to force their way into the next conversation. Jeff Sims is the perfect example. He is specifically mentioned as a position change or tryout type trying to create a path onto the roster. That is not a side note. That is a pressure point. Because every camp has one or two names that go from interesting body to we have to keep looking at him. This is where those stories begin. And that changes how we should view the whole field. Rookie minicamp is not only a talent showcase. It is a sorting machine. Coaches are asking, who belongs in the next phase? Who deserves more reps? Who can handle coaching? Who gives us roster flexibility? Those answers start here, even if the final decisions come much later. For drafted players, this is about building a role. For players like Sims, it is about survival. Different stakes, same field. That creates urgency, and urgency creates surprises. The impact on the Giants is real. A strong minicamp from a drafted rookie can help shape how the staff sees depth heading into OTAs and training camp. A strong minicamp from a tryout or converted player can complicate the back end of the roster. That means somebody can go from afterthought to problem for another player trying to stick. That is how camps get flipped. I'll say it. In my opinion, This is one of the most important hidden phases of the offseason, because this is where the first roster stress begins. Not the final cuts, the first stress. And I think fans who ignore this part always show up late to the real competition. Tell me I'm wrong. Now I want your take. Comment, genius, if you agree that rookie minicamp is one of the most important hidden phases of the offseason. Comment, overrated, if you think people read way too much into it. No middle ground. Make me defend my position. Quick reminder, if you made it this far, you are Big Blue. Hit subscribe now, because story 3 is the one. And story 3, that is the key. Because the biggest takeaway is not any single player. It is the meaning of the entire event for this team, and for what comes next. Now, here's what you have really been waiting for. The story that flips the whole conversation. Not who won the day, not who had the cleanest rep. The real question is this. Why does rookie minicamp matter more than just a few helmets and shorts practices? Because the answer tells you how to read this class the right way. The proof is right there in the core line from the story. Rookie minicamp does not decide the roster, but it absolutely starts the conversation. That is the bomb. That is the lens. And if you understand that sentence, you understand why this weekend matters. This was the Giants' first on-field look at the 2026 rookie class. A few early names are already worth tracking. Roles could open up. And that means the minicamp is not about crowning anyone. It is about opening lanes. That is a huge difference. Here is the deepest layer of this. Rookie minicamp sets the first internal narrative. Coaches start seeing who looks natural, who carries himself like a pro, who handles the tempo, who needs more refinement, who might fit a special package, who could challenge for developmental snaps, and who needs more runway. Connect that to story 1. When names like Reese, Mauigoa, Zvada, Hood, and Fields are already entering the early takeaway conversation, that means they have started creating a positive internal narrative. Connect that to story 2. When a player like Jeff Sims is trying to create a path onto the roster, that means this environment also creates surprise pressure on the roster fringe. So the real value of rookie minicamp is not the final answer. It is the first map. And for the Giants, that first map matters because this team is trying to build around competition, youth, and role clarity. Jackson Dart is the starting quarterback. John Harbaugh is leading this team. Big Blue is not in a place where young players can just drift for months without consequence. If you flash early, you buy yourself more chances. If you disappear early, somebody else takes your air. That is why these practices matter more than outsiders think. They are soft launch reps for hard decisions later. I'm going on record right now. In my opinion, fans who treat rookie minicamp like meaningless fluff are dead wrong. This is the first real sorting event of the offseason, and it can absolutely change the trajectory of how a rookie is used, developed, and discussed inside the building. Not the final chapter, the opening chapter that shapes all the others. That is my take. Convince me I'm wrong. I'm listening. Now you have your answer to the question I asked earlier. If you think this phase matters more than people admit, drop genius. If you think I'm overplaying it, drop overrated. I want to see where Big Blue Nation stands. If this analysis hit, like the video. That is how we keep the algorithm feeding real Giants breakdowns to real Giants fans. 3 stories. 1 picture. Here is what it all means together. The Giants did not leave rookie minicamp with final winners. They left with first clues, first names, and first pressure points. Certain rookies are already worth tracking. Opportunity players are trying to force their way into the conversation. And the entire event matters because it starts building the internal map for OTAs and training camp. That is the real takeaway. Not fake victory laps. Not empty hype. Structure. Direction. Early momentum. So here is my promise. In the next video, I'm breaking down which of these rookie names has the cleanest path to a real role, and which battle could get reshaped before training camp even arrives. If you are Big Blue for real, subscribe right now, turn on the bell, and make sure YouTube actually sends that breakdown to you. That is how you stay ahead of Eagles fans, Cowboys fans, and Commanders fans pretending they know this roster better than Big Blue Nation does. And drop your final answer below. Genius or overrated. But listen closely, one decision is still hanging over all of this. Which rookie turns an early flash into an actual role once the offseason ramps up? That answer is not locked yet, and that is exactly why the next phase matters. And outside the building, the division never stops moving. The Eagles, Cowboys, and Commanders are all trying to shape their own off-season narratives. Which domino falls first? Which young giant forces everybody to pay attention first? That is the next battle. Big Blue, the fight is here. Stay locked, stay loud, and stay New York tough. Subscribe, Plant your flag and let rival fans hear you. Let's go Giants.